Okay, so as we're all aware now, Afrotech is in Houston this time, right? And I've been seeing a lot of tweets specifically from men complaining that there's like dating panels and people are talking about on here, oh, like I'm looking for the men or, I'm looking for a fine woman, complaining. And the point I'm going to make, I'm going to relate it to DC men, specifically DC men in tech. Follow me, follow me. What these two genres.
How do y'all make a group of men in a particular area a monolith? So is DC men any different from Florida guys or Texas tech workers? I never understood that. That is so weird to me how people just completely just be like, oh, I'm just going to talk about DC men in particular. Like, what does that even mean? As human beings, people tend to all really look for the same thing. And so I don't know if DC's culture in the tech world is so much different than the tech world where it is in Ohio. But I don't know. Let's continue. Let's just hear the whole thing.
Genres of men share, right, is they constantly complain that they can't find somebody on their level, um, or someone that's not going to use them for the money, even though, okay, whatever, we'll get into that. Or
That's
they're
universal.
constantly working tireless hours, which is preventing them from dating.
That's
And so,
universal.
because they fear and think that women are only chasing them for their money
That's
and
universal.
that they don't have the time whatsoever to go date, even though they do be dating and they be ruining women's lives. Okay.
All right, I can already see the bitterness in these people, and so when they say stuff like this, that means that they're unable to remove their bias, which then tells you that their judgment is compromised. They can't tell you and tell the story and just give whatever it is that they think. Then they have to throw a bunch of other stuff inside of there. And I don't even understand how all of these women can start to think for men and tell you how men think in particular. Who told you this? And which DC men? I'd love to bring them to the front of the congregation and have this conversation. Which everything she said is universal. So there's no shortage of guys across the spectrum that all feel the same way. It's not just guys in DC. These is guys that are highly productive in particular. So guys that are highly productive don't have time to be focusing on women, and so they organically meet or they network with the people. And this is the way that you're supposed to find your wife or supposed to align yourself with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in. You align with like minds in similar industries and similar spaces. And so as a result, you dedicate yourself to your bag, which then prevented you from being one of these pookies or dudes that have got a bunch of kids out of wedlock in particular. They tend to be smarter. And that's a reflection of everything that's happening inside of their life. More importantly, I am concerned. And why is it that every single thing black, which I am not necessarily a fan of, because I think that it's discriminatory in its practice. Because if you said white tech, then people would be pissed off. But that's a whole other conversation. We here now. But how come every single, it doesn't matter if it's a tech vendor, it doesn't matter if it's no matter what it is, some conference, don't matter if it's Afro beats, Afro tech, Afro. Anytime you got an Afro out here, then it's always gonna be something with regard to box. Now, I'm not saying that box is not prevalent in society. It happens everywhere. It happens at every conference. I've been to conferences. There wasn't an Afrotech, but I've been to all kind of conferences and everything. There, you can go to CES. You can go to, and I'll be at CES in January, by the way. You can go to any single event. You can go to Comic Con, and there's people that's eventually gonna get boxed. But that's not the primary reason for you to be there. I don't see anybody on social media, and I'm gonna rewind this and I'm gonna let her get her whole thought out. So I'm gonna just replay this whole thing because I want to get it all in its full context. And I always like to link back to the content creators, so I'm definitely gonna do that. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, T. Henley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. That link is in the description. And get your tickets in the description. Come and kick it with me December 14th, 2024. End of my last show of the year. And it's going to be awesome. Discount code Anton. You're going to get at least 20% off your ticket. It's going to be dope. But it's like, that's not the primary reason why you're supposed to be there. You're supposed to be there to learn new technologies, to link up with like minds, possibly create a startup, get venture capital funding, learn a new skill, meet with employers. There are so many other things for you to tap into. But I'm starting to see a lot of women that ain't even in tech and don't even have a tech degree, don't have an interest in it whatsoever, or a STEM field, and they're finding themselves in these spaces trying to get chose. Okay, so Afrotech has basically become the new club. It's the new strip club. Got it. Let me get the full context. I'm gonna let her rock the entire time. I'm gonna put a link in the description to her profile, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna break this down.
Now, Afrotech is in Houston this time, right? And I've been seeing a lot of tweets specifically from men complaining that it's, there's like dating panels and people are talking about on here, oh, like I'm looking for the men, or, I'm looking for a fine woman, complaining. And the point I'm going to make, I'm going to relate it to DC men, specifically DC men in tech. Follow me, follow me. What these two genres of men share, right, is they constantly complain that they can't find somebody on their level, or someone that's not going to use them for the money, even though, okay, whatever, we'll get into that. Or they're constantly working tireless hours, which is preventing them from dating. And so, because they fear and think that women are only chasing them for their money and that they don't have the time whatsoever to go date, even though they do be dating and they be ruining women's lives, okay? They become very strict. And now all of a sudden it's anti-fun. Oh, this is a professional setting. Why is there dating panels? First off, a lot of the rhetoric you say is, "Oh, I don't have time for the dating. I don't know how to find someone within my career and my field." And then here you are with the panel to help you with dating. Mind you, they're not just doing it here at Afrotech. They do it at a lot of conferences. A lot of conferences. They do it in medicine conferences because what do doctors be doing? They be working tireless hours too. Second, now you're in a space, and this is also relating back to DC because there is a lot of successful Black women in DC, women in general, but I'm making it specific to Black. You're in a space where there's a lot of successful women. You think you're the only one that paid for you to be at this conference? You suddenly think that everybody was sponsored to be at this conference? No, some people paid out of pocket to be here and are in tech roles and don't mind finding a little love while they're doing it. So now this is
What
from
is
my
up with all of the
non-straight ass
animations and
people.
all
If
that?
you there and you want to network, but you also want to find your love, your husband, your wife, do so. I support you. I really do, and have the best fucking time. Like everything don't have to be.
Again, listen, fellas. Anytime you take advice from women, 9 times out of 10, it's going to lead you into the mire. We've seen it during the election. You're going to see it at these tech conferences. I don't care what conference you go to. Be about your bag first. If something organically pops off, be mindful of how it's going to affect your bag first. And then make the adjustment accordingly. But do not let these people talk you into fumbling the bag and going into something that's not going to be beneficial for you. That's all I'm going to tell you. Take it from Unc. I've been there, done that, been around the block, seen people crash out, avoided to crash myself, and went right on up at the exit ramp and went to my destination. Make sure that you're not crashing out, finding yourself in a position that you're not supposed to be in. And do not get finessed because you might have went for a tech conference and you might come out like a baby daddy with a woman that never had any good intentions with you in the first place. And I'm not saying that that's all women. Of course I'm not. Anybody that's smart and anybody that's worth a grain of salt knows that this is not a monolithic conversation. But what I am telling you is to be mindful of the people that is trying to take advantage of you because you made the sacrifices up to here to get to where you are. Don't fumble it overnight. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. And again, I'm going to put a link back to the content creator regardless of whether I agree with him or not. Get your tickets. Come kick it with me in person. More importantly, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Do you think that all of these places are now losing what they were because they're becoming something else? Or do you think that everything is just copacetic and just is what it is? Let me know in the comments. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you later. Peace.